Hello everybody, this is Sixy here, and today I'll be showing you how to create a spectacular rippling underwater explosion effect and blending a sexy girl into the water with just a few simple steps. Now you're going to need a few resources for this. These are all listed on my site at another.net. It's time to create a new document, 124 by 768 at 72 dpi. For this document, I'm going to start creating the bubbles for the effect. Press D to make sure the colors are default, and go to Filter, Render, Fibers. Just use the default options, which is 16 and 4. Now invert this and level. Command L to level it. Command I to invert. And just use a range like this. Next step is to duplicate this layer. Go into Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. Give it a radius of 4.5. Alright, now we're just going to turn this layer blending mode to screen and move it around and maybe scale it a bit bigger so that it looks like it's on the background. Once that's done, just merge the two layers, Command E, and name this layer Bubbles. Command J to duplicate the layer, name the new layer Ripples. Let's hide the Ripples layer for a sec. On the Bubbles layer, you're going to go to Filter, Distort, and Ocean Ripples. Ripple size 4, magnitude 5. Going to Command B to color balance it. Give it a green of around 45 and blue around 50. Now you're done for the bubbles layer. Let's go on to the next layer, which is ripples. For this ripple layer, we're going to Filter, Distort, and Ripple. You guessed it. And for the amount, we're going to enter in 160 and leave the size on medium. We're just going to do the same thing we did with the color balancing, and we're done. So for this PSD, we're just going to leave this open and make sure you save it as bubbles or something. Let's create a new document. 600 width by 136 at 72 dpi should be fine. Get our aquarium image, just copy and paste that in, and scale it to a nice composition. Make sure you hold shift. Just going to use the same one that I used before. Okay, I'm going to desaturate, shift command U, level, command L, and just squish the sliders so that it's around these values that you see here. Now let's put the girl into our image. So I'm just going to copy the girl and paste her in. First thing we're going to do to the girl, as nasty as that sounds, is I'm going to Command L to level. Squish the sliders to give it more contrast. Command U, bring up the hue and saturation, and I'm going to turn the saturation down 50. Command T to transform, and hold Command and just squish, click and drag that corner because we want it to flow along with our bubbles. If there's anything overlapping, such as fishes or anything, you just delete it. So for example, we have that fish on our leg, so I'm just gonna make a quick selection using the pen tool. So yeah, I'm just going to layer mask this out by creating a new layer mask, and if it's the opposite of what you want, you just press Command I on the layer mask. You see this fish is getting really lucky, but oh well. Just to demonstrate what I mean by belongs better in the image. Okay, so we're just gonna get back to our bubbles PSD and just drag or copy rather, the bubbles layer back into your composition. Going to turn this layer's blending mode to screen. So you have that, Command T, and just try and do something like this by skewing. It's like it's pouring down on her, like that. Command Enter once you're satisfied, and let's add a new layer mask to this. And go into Filter, Render Clouds to break up the uniformness. Select back the layer and go to Filter, Distort, Wave. enter in the value of these and press OK. Press Command J to duplicate and scale it to a position on our hand like so. Keep doing that and you'll get a lot more happening on our hands, which is what we want. Feel free to just go crazy with it, like, you know, even duplicate heaps of it. Now we're just going to repeat those same steps, except we're going to do that for the ripples layer instead. So I'm just going to copy in the ripples layer, turn that into a screen, skew it. Now you notice that this one is way more dramatic than the one before. And we're going to add a clouds layer mask to that. You don't need to wave this if you don't want to, it's highly optional. Now we're going to create an adjustment layer that will blend everything and make it look like it's underwater. So to do that, you just go to layer, new adjustment layer, gradient map. So for a gradient we want a value of 0C575C for the first stop. The next one we want value of 33A4C7. For the last one, leave it white. Click OK. Turn this blending mode to multiply at 70% opacity. The next step is for lighting. So to do that, we're going to create a new layer. Going to use the rectangular marquee tool and just get a selection like so. Alright, once you have your selection, we're going to get our gradient tool, get a foreground to transparent gradient, and use the fourth option, which is reflected, on the toolbar. And I'm going to make the foreground white. Once you've done that, start dragging from the middle of the selection to the edge, and you get yourself a nice gradient. Now don't deselect just yet. We're going to transform it into a cone shape by skewing it like we did before with the other bubbles and stuff. Once you have that, just turn that into overlay. Now if some errors are too strong, just feel free to delete it using the eraser. Okay, let's make a new layer. Let's turn the blending mode of this new layer to color, opacity on 75%. Select the gradient tool and use a foreground to transparent gradient like we used before, but use the normal mode this time, not the fourth option. Pick a color like OOFF8A for your current color and just drag to around the bottom of the image and you get something like this. And just feel free to just play around until you're happy with where it should go. But after that, so you just hold Alt and using the arrow tool drag it a bit upwards so that you have a duplicate, and play with the hue on the yellow one until you get a yellowish hue happening on top, or whatever color you prefer. It's really up to you. Maybe a blue one's nice. For finishing touches, we're just going to Command A to select all, going to Shift Command C, copy merged, Command paste, Command V to paste, and I'm going to go into filter, blur, lens blur. Enter in a value of these: octagon, radius 8, blade curvature 100, rotation 240, brightness 11, threshold 129. Click OK. Now let's layer mask the blurred layer, and we're just going to press Command I on the layer mask to invert it so that this is doing nothing at the moment. We're going to get a soft round brush, around 70% opacity, and we're going to just start brushing areas that can be blurred, or blurry rather, in white. Now this is just to create some depth for our image, which is non-existent at this point in time. So just brush on any areas that are like distant in the background, or stuff like her hind legs, you know, maybe her hand as well, to give it a bit of a glowish kind of thing happening. And objects that are really close to the camera. In this case we don't have any, so now we're going to get another merged copy of the whole artwork, and this time we're going to do any remaining touches that we feel is needed. So this can be like burning areas around her leg to create some shadow. You can dodge up few of areas that needs more lighting, such as her face, and a bit of her clothes maybe as well. It's really up to you, the artist, to do whatever you like. And you can even sharpen and blur parts even more just to finish up. Now, as with most of my artworks, I like to sharpen when complete. So I'm just going to get a final merge layer of everything, paste it in, going to filter, other, high pass, give it a value of 3 and turn that to soft light. Play with opacity and you're done. Let's have a look. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's too bad. I would say that's a really nice variation actually of the one that I have right now. So hope you have enjoyed the tutorial. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and hope to see you all around in the future. Peace out. This is Zixi from another.net.